ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णा प्रेम प्रदायिने कृष्णाय कृष्णा चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौरभक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्थसुभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्म हृदयादिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्वं मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। स्वस्ति अस्तु विश्वस्य खलः प्रसीदतां ध्यायन्तु भूतानि शिवं मिथो धिया। मनश्च भद्रं भजतादधोक्षजे आवेश्यतां नो मतिरप्यहेतुकी। We are reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 11, Chapter 11, verse number 3. Sri Krishna is continuing to answer Uddhava's question about bondage and liberation and what are the symptoms of a person who is liberated. So first he defines what actually is the truth behind bondage and liberation. Many times we use words very commonly, but we don't know the meaning behind those words. and more common a word is, there is a less chance that we truly understand what it really means. In India, most people will say we are not the body, but how many really pay attention to this, what it really means, that we are not the body, or we are Atma, or this is karma. So even Krishna says, Kim karma akarmeti kavyapyatra mohita. What is karma, what is akarma? Even the learned people are confused about it. So like that, there are many words which we use very commonly without knowing much about them. Love is another one like that. So this liberation, bondage, these are two very common words when it comes to philosophy, at least in India. Every system talks about them. So here he said that actually there is no real bondage, and therefore there is no real liberation. So then why we say these words? So he says this is because of misunderstanding or misconception of one object as another. So just as we mistake rope as snake, then it is not really snake but rope only. In the same way, we are not really bound, we are liberated, but because of this avidya, ignorance, so we get into this illusion. So therefore it says sansritir natu vastavi, that it is not vastavi, this sansriti or this bondage. So how does it happen? He describes what is this avidya or maya, then he describes that in the next verse. He says vidya vidye mam tanu vidhi uddhava sharirinam moksha bandha kari adye maya me vinirmite. So he says that these two, vidya and avidya, which embodied beings experience or they are influenced by them, they are mamatanu, they are actually my shakti, my potency. And they are adye, means they don't have any beginning. Because this question comes very naturally when we come to philosophy, that how we got bound. And because we have experience of things having a beginning and end or having a cause, so naturally we think that something would have caused it. Our existence here in the material world is caused by something. So different explanations. In Christianity, apple caused it. So if there was no apple, there would have been no problem. All the problem came because of the apple. Now we have also apple. So he says that that is not true. Don't blame the apple. He says this is adye, means they have no beginning. Means adye here means they are anadi, vidya and avidya, both of them. And moksha bandhakari, they cause moksha and bandhan. Vidya brings moksha, avidya brings bondage. And what are they? Say maya me vinirmite. They are product of my maya. So as we know, maya, Krishna says, is gunamayi. It contains gunas. So this guna theory is also important to understand. So therefore they have three divisions of sattva, rajas and tamas. So sattva is that sattvat sanjayate jnanam, rajasa lobha eva cha. So from sattva comes knowledge, means it removes avidya, and the other they call avarana and vikshepa. Tamas covers because it is dark, heavy, rajas chanchal, so it brings vikshepa. Like you do japa, there is laya and vikshepa, sleep and mind running here and there, so that is rajas and tamas. So kshipta mood, vikshipta, sattva, rajas, tamas. So therefore it says that these are me maya vinirmite. So Sri Vishnu Chakravarti explains, Nanu keyam avidya ya mithya bhuto api guna sambandha sporitas tatra. So in the previous verse he said that it is because of my maya, because in the first sloka he says that baddha mukta iti vyakhya gunta mena vastuta gunasya maya mulatvat. And there he commented that gunasya means guna sambandhasya, that really there is no contact, there is no samvaya sambandha, there is no sanyog sambandha between Atma and the gunas. So how does it happen? I said this is by the dustark and durghat shakti of Bhagavan. That is done by the maya. So then he said, what is this avidya? He said that the avidya is the one which causes it. So kayam avidya. What is this avidya or ignorance? Ya mithya bhuto api guna sambandha sporita. When the relationship with the gunas, and gunas means body, senses, etc., is actually not real, yet it appears real. So how is avidya managing this? So we know optical illusions, we have so much experience, the sky looks blue and it is not. So Maya creates some illusion like that, that something which is not true appears true to us. That this body does not belong to us, but it appears it belongs to us. So that is the avidya. It is because of avidya that, when Patanjali says avidya asmita ragdves abhinivesh. So then it defines what is avidya. So avidya means when something is anitya, you think of this as nitya. Something is temporary, you think of it as eternal. Something which is unclean, you think of unclean. Asuchi, asucha usuchi buddhi. Anitya nitya buddhi. So something which is not happiness, then you think of that as happiness. This is the magic of avidya. It is very interesting because, and then when we are under the influence of that avidya, that's how it looks to you. So then it does not matter if someone else tells you that no, it is not like that. He says, how do you say, but I see it, I see the sky blue, and now someone says it's not blue. So he says avidya does that. Vidya vidya mam tanu. So this vidya and avidya are my tanu. Tanu generally means body. So here it doesn't mean body because they are not his body. So he says tanyate bandha mokshau abhyam iti tanu shakti. So tanu vistara dhatu is there. Tanoti means expands. Like we have the word tantu. Cloth is made from thread. Threads are called tantu because they are spread in the cloth like that. So it is a tam dhatu. So it means to spread, to expand. So he says these vidya and avidya, they spread bandha and moksha. That they cause it. They are the cause, therefore they are called tanu. That is the meaning. So here it means Shakti, that they are my Shakti. Saririnam, and what is their effect? Because what is Shakti? Shakti means the ability to perform some work. That's what we call Shakti. Energy means that it has got potency to do something. So if they are Shakti of Bhagavan, then they must do something. So therefore he says that this is what they do. So what is that? So he says that Bandha Moksha Kari. So Bandha Moksha Kari should be Bandha Moksha Kariyo, because you have to use Dvitiya Vibhakti. That they cause bondage and liberation. So avidya bandha kari ityartha. So avidya, it causes the bondage. Imecha mama maya mahashaktya vinirmite srishte. And these are products of my maya, which is my mahashakti, great potency. So Bhagavan has got various types of potencies, and the potency which manifests this material world, that is the Maya Shakti or Mahamaya Shakti. So this is the play of that. Kincha Maya Vrittittvadeva Tayor Maya Shishtatvam Aupcharikam eva uchyate. So here in the sloka it is said that they are products of Maya. Maya me vinirmite. So vinirmite means that actually Maya is used to make them, or what? When you make, say, soup, then you say soup is made from vegetables. So you take the vegetables, you cook them, it becomes soup. So like that, is it that you take Maya and then you do something to Maya and then Vidya come out of that? Because that's what it means to make. The Upadan Karan. So he says, no, it is not like that. These are vritti. Vritti means that it's some state of Maya. It's just Maya is not transformed into something else, but these are just some states of Maya. So that's what he does that. So therefore he says that to say that they are produced from Maya, it is in the secondary sense, Aupcharikam eva uchyate ityaha. Then the word Adye, that is the word to be understood properly. So therefore he makes it very clear that Adya here means Anadi. So Anadi is very important word when we have to understand what is bondage. And if we do not understand, then this question keeps on coming in our mind. Why are we suffering here? Why God did this to us? Why this? Why that? So Anadi is beyond why. Because as soon as you say why, then you are assuming that it has a beginning. Means why this happened, why this situation. That means somebody caused it, and if it is caused, then it has a beginning. So here Anadi is not in that sense that it is, it denies that there is a cause. So Anadi means Na Adi iti Anadi, which does not have a beginning. It's called Anadi. So that means just as Bhagavan is Anadi, people have no problem with that. That Bhagavan is Anadi, no problem. They also understand that Jiva is not created, not destroyed. So Jiva is also Anadi. But when it comes to the bondage of the Jiva, that cannot be Anadi. How is that possible? So if Bhagavan is Anadi, then his Shaktis are also Anadi. right? If sugar is produced, then sweetness is also produced in it. If sugar is not produced, then sweetness is also not produced. Because sweetness is the inherent characteristic of sugar. So therefore, if Bhagwan is not produced, then his Shaktis are also not produced. If he has no beginning, his Shaktis have no beginning. So then Maya also has no beginning, Jiva also has no beginning. And their combination also has no beginning. So this Krishna says this in Gita. Prakriti Purusaucha Vidhi Anado Ubhavapi. In the same very word, Anadi is used by him. That Prakriti and Purusha, they are Anadi. And Purusha there means Jiva. And in the commentaries, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he makes it very clear that Prakriti and Purusha, they are Anadi, and their union is also Anadi. Means there was never a time that Purusha was without Prakriti. And then once upon a time he made a choice, this way or that way. So he got attracted to Maya. One Bhāgavata speaker was explaining how we came to the material world. Famous Bhāgavata speaker. He said that one day the Jiva was looking, he was saying that his friend, we were friend of Krishna. So he was with Krishna and they looked outside the window, and then when he looked outside the window, he saw the material world from the window. In Golok Vrindavan, they were in a house, and through the window he saw. And that looked very attractive to him. So from that you can understand that what ugly Vaikuntha must be or Golok must be. Because he said, oh, this is very attractive. And Krishna says, no. He says, no, I want to go and see that. So he says, okay, go. So that's how he came here. He was actually explaining it like that, very seriously. So if you don't have any idea of Goloka, you can get from this now. There are windows there, and outside window is the Maya standing. Bhushan.
If I may ask a follow-up question to that. So at some point I read Swami Shivananda of Rishikesh's books that Advaita Vedanta, that if you get any of the Salokya, Samikya, Mukti, if you are in Goloka, etc., you can still go to Brahma Gyan. My question is that how would Advaita, how would the Gyan Marga explain this? Because once you get Mukti, right? You cannot transfer Mukti to go to Brahma Gyan, I would imagine.
If you can fall down from Goloka, what is the problem going from Goloka to some nice place like Brahman? If somebody can explain that from Goloka you can come to the material world, somebody else explains from Goloka you go to Brahman, because Brahman is better for them. So it's just their explanation. So image mama maya mahashaktya vinirmita sishte kincha maya vrittitvadeva tayor maya sishtatvam upcharikam eva uchyate. Intya hai adya anadi. Anadi anantam. So it is anadi, anantam, avyaktam, nityam, karanam, avyam iti dvadasokte. So because it is stated in the 12th canto that about Maya, that it has no beginning, no end, it is unmanifest, eternal cause. Avya means it doesn't diminish. Punso asti prakriti nitya iti vaidyoktesya. And in some scripture of Ayurveda it is said that the prakriti is nitya, eternal. Maya Shaktiriva Tadvritti Vidya Vidya api Nitya eva. So therefore, just because Maya is eternal, then its vritti is called vidya and avidya, they are also eternal. So Maya belongs to Bhagavan, and then vidya and avidya, they are part of Maya. And they are all eternal. Tadevam mayaya tisro vrittaya pradhanam avidya vidyacha. So Maya has got 3 states. One is called pradhana. So pradhana is same which you also call prakriti. And from there we get the material world. Mahat tattva, ahankara, then the panch tanmatra, panch mahabhuta, senses, all that. So this is all the material world is. But this material world will not have any utility if there is no Jiva. So then Jiva has to be there, so Jiva is there. But Jiva is there and he is in knowledge. Then material world will also have no function. So therefore he has avidya. So therefore Jiva is given 2 things. One is avidya, one is the playground for avidya. Once you are under the influence of avidya, then you have the field to play. Then you do your leela here in the material world. Right? Everybody is thinking I am God, even if they don't say it, but some idea is there that I am somebody and this world is meant for me. Unless you study philosophy, the general tendency is that world is meant for my enjoyment. So that's what it means, that I am the enjoyer and this is for me. Everybody should act to serve me. Now they also teach this, what is this called, this meditation, manifestation. Right? So they teach you how to manifest. They say you have to desire. When you desire, the whole universe starts changing it to please you. So that is the concept, that you are the center and the universe is rotating around you and it is meant for you. So then what does it mean? It means you are God. The conclusion is that they make the inference. So therefore these people are teaching you to be God, in case you did not know. So they are telling you. So here Krishna says that it is my Maya, me Mayas. So don't mistake that. So this has got these 3 vrittis, pradhanam, avidya, vidyacha. Pradhanena upadhi satya eva srijyate. So this is very important. This is where we separate from the Advaitavadi. They also accept Maya. They also accept all this pradhan business. So it says that pradhana is that which creates upadhi. And the important thing is that pradhanena upadhi satya eva srijyate. The upadhis are real. So what is the upadhi? Upadhi is the body. Upsamipe adhiyate iti upadhi. That which is close to you. Upa means nearby. So that is, and it is holding you or you are holding it. So that is the upadhi. So this body is real. Body is not false. It is not a dream. And Jiva is also real. The only problem is that the relationship is not real. That's why it says gunasya maya mulatvat. That this gun sambandha, that is the false. There is no relationship. That is something which we have assumed. It's like when you make some relationship here in the material world, it is assumed in the mind. It's nothing outside. Either you make a contract with somebody, or in the society we decide that this is how we are going to function. Land doesn't belong to anybody. But human beings decided that, okay, this area will be called India and no other country can enter inside it. So this is just an arrangement made. It's not a real thing. Land is real, but to call this as India and next one as Pakistan, that is our story that we make up. So like that we make relations, and then this land, if you pay this much money to somebody, it becomes yours. It's just arrangement. Some other guy comes and invades and takes away, then what? He becomes the owner. Did he pay money? No. So therefore these are all imagined. If it was real, if you are real owner, then you will be the real owner. No one can take it away by force. So therefore he says that this upadhis, they are real. But avidya tad adhyaso mithya bhuta. But then there is a adhyas. Adhyas means that you put one thing on another, right? So ladies put lipstick on their lip, right? So lip has one color, then you put color on it. Now the same lip looks another color. The original color is not visible anymore. So you have the lipstick color, but then you don't say this is lipstick. You say, oh, your lips look very beautiful. So that is adhyas. Adhyas means one thing sitting on top of another. Asa, means to sit, like asana. Adhi means above. So the color is painted, then everybody is confused by that, right? People become the lady herself is first of all put into illusion that my lips are nice. When actually she knows what the color is, but after putting it and seeing in the mirror, she says, oh, very nice. So she first puts herself into illusion, and then she puts others into illusion. And this is the game of illusion. So this is the adhyas. So he is saying this, that this adhyas is mithya bhut. It is not real. Come on, go below the color and see what is there. Because it's not going to last very long. So therefore he says, tad adhyaso mithya bhuta. So that is the avidya. What is the adhyasa? Avidyaya. And this adhyasa is between these two guys. Jiva, which is real. Upadhi, which is real, created by Maya. Because it says three things are there. So there is a double attack by Maya. Maya brings attack from two sides. So one side, Maya creates the upadhi to attract you. Other side, she puts illusion inside you that yes, this is attractive. So then you become attached. That is the adhyas. Then you say, oh, this is my body. So this is what is being called. And vidyaya tadupramaiti tisrinam karyam. So this is brought to an end by vidya. So therefore there is a famous statement, rite jnanat na mukti. That without knowledge there is no liberation. Because the mool original cause is avidya. So that is being described here in this verse. Ekasyeva mamamsasya jivasyeva mahamate bandhvasya vidyanadir vidya chetathetara. So again Krishna is speaking the word anadi. In the previous verse he used the word adya, which meant anadi also. Here he uses the word anadi itself. So he says that it is only the jiva, which is my amsa, mamamsasya jivasya ekasya eva. He says one only, the same fellow gets bondage, same fellow gets liberated. Ekasya eva mamansasya jivasya eva mahamate. So what is the cause? Bandho asya avidyaya. Anadi avidyaya. Again he uses the word anadi so that we don't miss, because this idea of anadi slips away very quickly from our mind. You talk to it and then the person, remember one day somebody was asking me a question in the class and I explained to him, and then that person writes to me again and say, you said I didn't say it, and he had 8 questions and all about disregarding anadi. So this happens to us. It's nothing unusual because we are so used to adi and not used to anadi at all, that this idea of anadi doesn't enter. So therefore even Krishna is saying here again anadi. There was no need. He already said it in the previous verse. Why saying? So when something is repeated in Shastra, in normal language if you repeat it can be considered as a punarukti dosh of repetition. Shastra if it repeats, it obviously has a purpose. Means something which needs to be stressed because it is difficult. So then that is stressed. So bandhosya avidyaya anadir and vidya cha tathetar. And by vidya you become free, itara. So this very clear statement made here. ताभ्याम एव मदीय शक्तिभ्याम अविद्या विद्याभ्याम मदीय जीव शक्तिर देहाध्यास प्रसारण अप्रसारणाभ्याम वस्तु भूतौ अपि बंध मोक्षौ प्रत्यायितौ. So he says, by these 2 Shakti which belong to me, Vidya and Avidya, the Jiva which is also my Shakti. So both are his. So just like in Gita also says that aparayam itastwanyam prakriti viddhi me param. So he says bhinna prakriti ashtada, he says my 8 type of energy, that is also my, and that also viddhi prakriti me param, my prakriti. So here also he says that this Maya which has 2 parts in it, Vidya and Avidya, is my Shakti. Jiva is also my Shakti. So Dehadhyas Prasarana Prasaranabhyam. So what do these 2 things do? Vidya and Avidya. So Avidya brings Dehadhyas. So Dehadhyas means identification with the body. Means thinking, the Jiva thinks I am the body. And what does Vidya do? It removes that Adhyas. It dispels the Adhyas. So Vastu Bhutau api Bandha Moksha Pratyayita. So these are real energies, but they produce the effect of Bandha and Moksha. Madhya Srishtyadi Leela Shakti Prerana Vashadeva Ityaha. And why it is happening like this? He says because of the inspiration caused by my Leela Shakti in the form of creation, etc. Madhya Srishti Adi Leela Shakti. So means this creation is also Bhagavan's Leela. Means Leela means that it does not have any purpose for him. Means it is not that he has any need for it, or it gives him some special pleasure, and if he is lacking ananda, not like that, in just his play. So then he describes that ekasya evati. So ekasya eva mamansasya jivasya eva mahamate. So amsasya vibhinnansa sabdavachyasya. So amsa here means vibhinnansa. So these are separated parts. प्रकृति विद्धि में पराम जीव भूताम मया महाभाव येदम धार्यते जगत इति described in Bhagavad Gita that this is my para prakriti called Jiva Bhuta which upholds the universe. Maduktar Jivasya Makshatittvepi. She says that Jiva is also my Shakti as it is stated in Gita, Mamaivanso Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana iti. Maduktereva Amsantvam cha. अत्र शरीरिणामिति पूर्वोक्त नित्यो नित्यानां चेतनश्चेतनानाम् एको बहुनां यो विदधाति कामान् इति श्रुतश्च जीवानां बहुत्वे अपि कथम एकस्य इति उक्तम् इति उच्यते. Now the question is raised here because in the previous sloka the plural was used sharirinam, means of the embodied beings, so that is in plural. But here in this sloka, the word ekasya eva, only one jiva, ekasya eva mamansasya jivasya. So looks like that jiva is only one, not many. But previously he said sharirinam. So what does it mean? Why it is saying, and then says this also Shruti is saying the nityo nityanam chetanas chetananam. That also implies there are many jivas. So why is Krishna using the word ekasya mamansasya jivasya mahamate? What is the reason for that? So he says that ekasyapi tatasthakhya jiv shakter vritti bahulyadeva bahavo jiva ityuchyante. So he says ekasya eva jivasya here means the jiva shakti. Singular is used to refer to the whole jiva shakti, tatastha shakti. Just like you say cow is worshipable. So when I am using singular, does it mean only one cow is worshipable? I should say cows are worshipable. But does it have a different meaning if I say cows are worshipable or if I say cow is worshipable? It means same. Because when I am using singular, cow is worshipable, I mean the class of cows. I do not mean just one particular cow. So similarly, when he says ekasya jivasya means the class of the jivas, tatastha shakti, that's how it's. Otherwise previously he used plural and now why he is doing this? Because Advaitavad takes this meaning that there is only one jiva, he only goes through this. So that's the reason he is talking like this. यथा एकस्यापि बहिरंगाख्याया माया शक्तेः प्रथमम् अविद्या विद्या चैति द्वे वृत्ति तयोश्चापि प्रतिजीवं वृत्ति बाहुल्यात् बहुत्वमेव. He said just like he said that I have one maya, then he says that maya has got vidya and avidya, two vrittis. But then vidya are not only two, they have further so many divisions. So he says like that here also it's pratijivam vritti bahulyat bahutvam. So those vidya and avidya he said two, but every jiva has got avidya, so many avidyas are there, and avidya of every jiva is different. It's not that everybody has got the same amount of ignorance or same amount of knowledge. So it varies, we know this. Among human beings it varies, and then you go from one species to another species, it varies. So vidya and avidya are just as vidya and avidya, although are two, but they have so much types in them. So similarly jiva is said one, but jiva is also of many types, because jiva means conditioned being, and conditioning is of various types. So that's how it has to be understood. Yatha cha maya vritti nam maya sabdasya vachyatvam tathaiva jiva vritti nam api jiva sabda vachyatvam. So it said just like maya has got various divisions, but they are all called by the word maya. So in the same way jiva has got also so many varieties, but they are all called jiva. Jiva Shakti. So Jiva Shakti refers to the varieties of various jivas, the various gradations. किंच जीव शक्ति माया शक्ति और वृत्ति नाम अपि नित्यत्वम एव ज्ञेयम्. And then this Jiva Shakti, Maya Shakti, their varieties, various types, they are also eternal. Vidya is eternal, Avidya is eternal, Pradhana is eternal. Similarly, various types of Jiva, wherever it is eternal. So Nitya Nityanamiti, therefore that Shruti statement was there, Nitya Nityanam, that Bhagavan is one eternal among various eternals. बंध मोक्ष करी आद्य इति वचनेभ्य. So in the previous sloka he said bandha moksha kari adye, and this too. अविद्या ध्वंसे सति जीवस्य निर्वाण इति वाक्येषु ध्वंस निर्वाण शब्दाभ्याम उपराम ब्रह्म सायुज्य उच्यते. So it is said that earlier it was said bandha moksha kari adye, that this vidya and avidya, they are anadi and they cause bondage and liberation. And then it is said that avidya dhvanse sati jivasya nirvana. When avidya is destroyed, then jiva attains nirvana. So what is the meaning of this attaining nirvana? He explains that. He says dhvans nirvana sabdabhyam upram brahma sahyajya uchyate. He says dhvansa means upram, means avidya comes to an end. End does not mean that it is destroyed. Why he is giving this meaning? Generally when we say dhvansa, dhvansa is means when you break something, like if you have a pot and it breaks down, that is called dhvamsa. But when we say avidya is destroyed, it is not destroyed like that it gets scattered into pieces. It is not made of the pieces. It simply means that it is dispelled. Like you have darkness in this room, you bring light. So then you say that there is destruction of darkness. So destruction does not mean that you cut it into pieces. It is dispelled. So therefore he is making it clear that dhvamsa here means dispelling, removal. And what is nirvana? Nirvana means sayujya mukti. Brahma nirvana, esa brahmi sthiti partha nainam prapya vimuhyati. Stitva syamanta kalepi brahma nirvana mrichati. So this is sayujya mukti. Brahma nirvana, Brahma sayujya, says here uchyate. What is the meaning of sayujya? So it comes from the use dhatu, together. It does not mean you become Brahman. So that is to again describe that it is not the same kevala dvaitvad, that jiva brahma eva napara. So sayujya means sahayujyate iti sayujya. You are together, united. So if there is a word yuja, union, that means there are two. There cannot be union in one. Person cannot unite with itself, or object cannot unite with itself. That tadatmya sambandha is only in Nyaya, not in Vedanta. So therefore he says Brahmana saha yujyate. So Brahmana is in Tritiya Vibhakti. And saha yujyate is for the Atma. So that means there are two separate. Krishnena saha agata Yashoda. Yashoda has come along with Krishna, Tritiya Vibhakti. So that means Brahman is different, Jiva is different. So Sayujya Mukti is therefore called Sayujya. Not Nirvana means what? Nirvana is like you have a lamp and you extinguish it. That is called Nirvana. Buddhism, they call it Nirvana because they don't believe in Atma. So there everything comes, it closes down like ghee lamp and you extinguish it. That's called ghee lamp nirvana. So why he is commenting on these two words, dvamsa and nirvana? Because they have different meaning here and not what is generally understood. So therefore it says brahmana saha yujyate iti sayuk tasya bhava sayujyam. So jivasya na tatra swarup dhamsa. So therefore there is no destruction of the swarupa of the jiva. That jiva is just finished. Because jiva is nitya. So this is to refute the Buddhistic idea of nirvana. Moreover, it is said in Vishnu Purana, Vishnu Sakti Para Prokta Kshetragyakya Tata Para Avidya Karma Sangyanya Tritiya Shakti Rishyate. So Vishnu has got three types of Shakti. One is called Parashakti. So that is the Antaranga Shakti. Then Kshetragyakya Aparashakti, that is the Jiva Shakti. And then the Pradhana or Prakriti, that is called Avidya Karma Sangya. It is also called Avidya Karma. It's another name for Prakriti or Pradhana or Maya. Because out of Avidya you perform karma here. Yaya Kshetragya Sakti Sa Tartamyena Vartate. So because of this third Shakti, this Avidya Karma Sangya, the Jiva Shakti exists in various gradations. So the varieties of the Jivas here in the material world is because of different varieties of Avidya. So whether all these 14 lokas are there, so all these varieties, that there is different levels of Avidya. So that's why he says Tartamyena. Again he is citing this to prove that it is not that there is only one Jiva, or it is not that Jiva comes to an end when there is Sayujya Mukti. So iti Vishnu Pranokti. So Prayo Vasi Bhuta Srishti Lila Siddhyartham Ityaha. So Jiva is under the control of Maya, generally speaking, except those who are Jivan Muktas. And that's what creates the material world. Ya Dharyate Jagat. Then Bandha iti. Bandho asya avidyaya anadi. Vidya cha tathetara. So Bandha is anadi. The word anadi here is not with the anadi avidya, but anadi bandha. So here it is very clearly stated by Krishna himself that bandha, the bondage, is anadi. Avidya is anadi, bondage is also anadi. So asya avidyaya bandha sacha karmano anaditvat anadi. So again, it's a very clear statement by Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. The verse is also saying it, but he makes it very clear. So he says that the bondage is caused by avidya, and in the sloka it was says avidya karma sangya. So avidya is anadi, the karma is also anadi, and therefore the bondage is also anadi. So karmano anaditvat anadi, but anadi does not mean that it is unending. Although the bondage of the jiva has no beginning, but it is santa. Santa means it has an end. So that is because moksha is possible. So moksha sambhavat santaha. Therefore in the sloka the word itara was used. Itara means other. Vidyaya cha tathetara. By vidya, you have the itara, means moksha or liberation. Janyatvat sadir anaswaratvat niranto geya. So this is, we have to understand that bondage has no beginning but an end. Moksha has a beginning but no end. So there are four types of things. There are certain things or activities which have no beginning and no end, like Krishna, Krishna's Shakti, Jiva, Vaikuntha. Then there are certain things which have a beginning and an end, just opposite of the first one. So this is what we see here, objects in the material world, or all material activities have beginning and end. Then there are certain things which have no beginning but an end. So that is bondage or pragabhav in Nyaya. Pragabhav has no beginning but an end. And then there is the fourth type which has a beginning but no end. So that is moksha. So if you get moksha, there is no end. Yad gatvana nivartante tadham paramama. So where is the question of now coming back from there, of falling down? Not possible. So like Dhvansa Bhav has beginning but no end. So that is, he has explained the meaning of what is bandha, what is moksha, what are their characteristics. Sandeep.
I have actually two questions. So in the previous shloka, I said Maya, one of the characteristics is avyam. And in this shloka explanation, he was saying Dhvansa. So, avyam is Maya being eternal, and Dhvansa means its effect will finish. What is it?
Yeah, that's what it says. Dhvansa means removal.
It's only the effect, na?
You can say effect or you can say ignorance. Ignorance is removed. If ignorance is removed, the effect is also removed.
So my second question is that if this Vidya is saying is causing liberation, right? So, and then he's saying Ram Sayujya. So if Vidya is causing liberation, then the previous shloka we did that the Vidya also has to be removed. I'm not able to reconcile this thing. If Vidya is removed, if it is called liberation and then removed, before liberation, removed.
So what do you think?
I'm not able to understand.
No, this thing was already discussed in the previous class also, in the previous chapter also it came, if you remember. There also this question came when he said that when knowledge comes, then it removes avidya, and then vidya becomes also shanta, just like fire is there, it burns the wood, and then when wood is burned, the fire also extinguishes. You remember that sloka? Or you don't remember?
Yes.
So what was said there in the explanation of that? Because your question is same. What happens to vidya? So there it was again explained, and I already said that although it is not in the sloka, but when a commentator is commenting, he does not comment just on that. You have to also reconcile. The Shastra has to have ek vakyata, unity of meaning, not that you can say one thing in one place, another thing in another place. So there are repeatedly statements in Bhāgavatam that without bhakti you cannot get moksha. Atyantik Mukti. You can get Jivan Mukti. There is Jivan Mukti and there is Atyantik Mukti. Ultimate liberation. And liberation when you are living in this body. Liberation while living in this body means now whatever karma you perform, it doesn't stick to you. So naiv kinchit karomi iti yukto manyeta tattvit pasyan srinvan sprasan sad jignan asnan gachan swapan sasan. All that sloka means it becomes detached from that. But after death, if you want atyantik mukti, there has to be bhakti. So this was also discussed there very clearly, that he quoted that sloka, Brahma bhut prasannatma na shochati na kankshati samay sarvesu mad bhutesu mad bhakti labte param. So although he has become Brahma bhuta while living, so it means he became Jivan mukta. Samay sarvesu bhutesu is equal to all, no rag, no dves. That is the meaning of liberated here. But then, because during his sadhana he has taken help of bhakti, now bhakti becomes manifest. And bhaktya mam abhijanati yavan yaschasmi tattvata tato mam tattvato gyatva vishate tadanantaram. So by the power of bhakti, then he enters, then he gets Ayujya Mukti.
So in this explanation, what is explained as moksha is actually Jivan Mukta.
Yes. So this is very important principle of both Bhagavad Gita and Bhāgavatam. And it is very specifically stressed in our sampradaya that without bhakti there is no mukti. All Vaishnavas accept this. That's why they say that mukti is not the highest thing, or mukti is not possible without bhakti. And logically also it is true when we know that Vidya and Avidya both are Maya Shakti here. You read that. So if it is also Maya, how are you going to become liberated by that Vidya?
But Jivan Mukta you can become.
Yeah, Jivan Mukta you can. That's why I am saying Jivan Mukta you can. But you have to understand what Jivan Mukta means. But how are you going to become free? If you see from Sankhya point of view, so what is Sankhya saying? That you have Prakriti, then you have Mahat Tattva, then you have Ahankar, then you have all this material world. So now with your knowledge, you understand, I am not this body, but this Ahankar is still there. With that ahankara, without that ahankara, you cannot understand. If you don't have ahankara, you are like a sleeping guy, So when you have when you are going to have vidya, I am not this body. So you are still having your identity along with this body only. You are sitting in this body. Otherwise, how can you speak? I am not this body. Soul does not speak.
Right.
So that means you still have a trace of ahankara. It is sattvic ahankara, but you still have that trace that I am liberated. I am Jivan Mukta. Who is saying it? When you say I am liberated, who says it? Soul is not saying it. Soul cannot say. So you are still saying with this body only. So how are you going to get rid of that ahankara now? You come to the sattva. Sattva gives you knowledge, so you are in sattvic ahankara. With that you get rid of tamas, rajas, all that, adhyas. But you still have the sattvic ahankara. And even if you get rid of sattvic ahankara, let's say, okay, somehow you dissolve that also. What will happen to the Mahat Tattva? You have that also, part of Maya. Prakriti is there. So those two things are still sticking to you.
My one last doubt, when he is saying Brahm Sayujya, with Vidya you can achieve Brahm Sayujya. So my proposition is, you could even be, with Vidya you could even be Pravriti Laya and eternally be Pravriti Laya.
Eternally or non-eternally, there is nothing eternal in Prakriti. Okay? Prakriti is temporary, it is going to come out one day. How long are you going to remain there? Bhushan.
Pranam, I was wondering if this verses are a refutation of the Sri Vaishnava notion of that Shastra gives only indirect knowledge or paroksha gyan. Like they have the Dashamatvam understanding that it, like Shankaracharya says that Shastra gives direct knowledge. Jiva Goswami also says that just by doing bhakti or hearing Bhāgavatam you can get direct knowledge of Bhagavan. But they say it cannot give direct knowledge. So then if it does not give knowledge, then how can they be liberated? Even if they do, so for anybody to be liberated, in any account, the Shastra has to give direct knowledge, either through Jnana or through Bhakti.
So how does this refute that?
Because they say that, the Dashamattvamasi, they say that...
Yeah, but how does this refute that idea I'm saying? How does it refute their understanding?
So because for any kind of liberation, any kind of mukti, you require direct knowledge, and they don't admit direct knowledge from Shastra. So how would they get direct knowledge?
They don't say that you get a paroksha gyan you get from Shastra and you do practice and then you get a paroksha gyan.
Oh, and then you get... Oh, I see. Okay.
What is the problem? Otherwise Shastra will become meaningless for them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.